Yesterday, I sat down with Dave Blaskiewicz from Invest Detroit to discuss how venture capitalism is impacting business in the city of Detroit.
Dave Blaskiewicz, President and CEO of Invest Detroit, is here. Hello, Dave.
Well, hello.
How are you?
Fantastic, thanks.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. So, a new report says Michigan is lagging other states in funding for entrepreneurs and startups. Tell me about the new report.
Yeah, new report out showing that we are lagging our surrounding states with respect to investing in our early stage companies. It's such an important part of our economy.
What does that actually look like on a day-to-day basis, right? Like we can say we're lagging,
Yes.
but what do the
Well,
metrics look like? What does that mean?
Let's compare ourselves to Ohio as an example.
Oh, all right, if we have
So
to.
Ohio, over the last 5 years, has invested $221 million in their startups, in the early stage companies. And what that's resulted in is $10 billion of revenue to the state. We, on the other hand, have seen a 40% decline in that same time frame for our startups and entrepreneurs. The source of funding for those very early stage, I mean, these are high risk, startups. The source of funding for those are really limited sources. We have the philanthropic community that will contribute some capital to those startups, but the majority of the funding comes from the public sector, and that's what we're really hoping this report encourages additional investment at the top of the funnel at the early stages of these companies.
Yeah, and I want to talk a little bit about what exactly the ask is, but I just sort of blown away by this number, 40% decline.
That's right.
How did that happen?
It's been a steady decline over
Okay.
over the last couple of decades, but it's really been accelerated over the last 10 years. And it's just there have been other state priorities, and we've watched the allocation to this space go down. The challenge here is that these types of companies, these very early stage companies, need lots of support. That capital is one of the things that puts fuel in their tank that allows them to grow and seed themselves. And of course, we want to keep those companies here in the state of Michigan. And so we've got to provide a series of different sources of capital to allow those companies to grow and really stay here in the state.
Okay, so that's the foundation. So what's the ask?
The ask is for us to put money into funds so that we can create essentially an evergreen situation. We want to be able to take investments into this space and continue to build and grow those companies. But if we can get our base large enough, if we can get that investment to a level for a series of entities to continue to make those contributions, we can do this on a kind of perpetual motion machine. We can get the base large enough so that the returns on that portfolio will begin to fund future investments in those companies. Right now, what we're doing is going back and forth with the state. Every couple of years, we have to reload, these funds, make those new investments. If we can get these to a large enough size, we don't have to do that. And the state becomes the beneficiary of that investment in the long run, and they don't have to contribute additional dollars into that space. So the reason why, I mean, the $126 million sounds like a lot of money, but it's really 4 different organizations, entities that are making these investments and building their own evergreen funds so that we can continue to make these investments long into the future without having to, put our hands out and ask for additional support and funding.
Are you making any suggestions about where the money should come from?
This is a specific request to the state. We've watched the state put significant money into large companies and manufacturing facilities. I think the total is around $3.6 billion that went into programs like SOAR.
Yeah.
We would just like to see some investment, some additional investment
Yeah.
on the smaller side. If you think about small businesses across the state,
Yeah.
50% of our employment, is through small businesses.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that we are building the capacity of that space, that we are
Yeah.
building the number of small businesses that
Yeah.
we have. The only way to do that is to start in the beginning with the very early stage companies and then help grow them and keep them here. We are losing companies, even the ones that we're starting, because we don't have that capital to move them along. One example of that would be Bonza Pasta. I mean, these guys are making chickpea pasta. Don't know if you've had it or not, Zoe, but delicious stuff. Company started here in Michigan,
Yeah.
couldn't find the additional capital that they needed, ended up moving to New York. 80 employees,
Yeah.
within that company. Those
Yeah.
are the kinds of things that we're trying to keep
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. So let's say, whether it's SOAR funding, whether it's general funding, let's say you get that. How does that work then? Are folks asking, are applying for it? Who makes the determination?
There's
How would
already a
that work?
great coalition that's been pulled together between universities and other like organizations like ours that are investing this capital in early stage companies. And the way that would work is this consortium would, it's already kind of framed up how the dollars would get employed, would be the, kind of sources for providing this capital to early stage companies going forward.
Give me a quick example. Chickpea pasta.
Yes.
Love. What other companies, businesses do you think could really scale up if they were able to be awarded some of this startup money?
So just looking at our portfolio,
Please.
we've invested. We've been doing this for about 13 years now.
Okay.
We've invested in about 200 companies, have about 115 companies in our current active portfolio. These companies are everything from technology companies, medical device companies, therapeutics, you name it. We're trying to support it. So not a lot of specificity, like we're going after this particular market,
Okay.
we're going after battery
Okay.
companies, we're going, this is about supporting businesses in this state and helping to keep them here by providing them with the tools and resources that they
Sounds
need.
a little bit like a holistic approach to businesses, right?
Well, I mean, we really need that. The other
Yeah.
part of this is, it really is kind of a three-legged stool.
Yeah.
We have to provide capital. That's only a part of this conversation.
Yeah.
We also have to provide technical assistance. How we, kind of surround these companies with love is really
Yeah.
important. How
Yeah.
we give them the support that they need to grow and develop, the network and connection, points are really important. But so is the professional support for those companies.
Yeah.
The backroom activities, finance, accounting, and the like are important. But so are markets and creating connections to other businesses and companies in the state.
Well, Dave, we've got about 30 seconds left, but let me ask you, what's your feeling? Is this something you can make happen, and how is the conference going to help
Listen,
that?
if you're going to ask me that, I'm going to always tell you the answer is yes. The answer is yes.
Yeah.
We're very, kind of optimistic about the state supporting entrepreneurs, and we're very hopeful that they're going to do that in an evergreen fashion.
Yeah.
Again, it's our opportunity to do this once and not have to do this every few years.
Okay, Dave Blaskiewicz, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for the time. I really appreciate it.